and Sydney Moore, and we are glad to see you today.
Well, good to be here. Thursday, one more day closer to Friday. I felt like this week is going by quickly, honestly.
It's actually going by very quickly.
Right?
I think so. Yeah, it's just chugging right along.
Tim's like, I'm still on jet lag over here.
I'm showing up and we're ready to work for tonight. Yes.
Yeah, and radar looks okay right now.
As of right now, I don't see any storms in our area, but that could change. So we're going to keep you posted as we go in the next couple of hours.
All right, Tim, thanks. Happening right now, big story, a push to stop the violence in Winston-Salem and Forsyth County. Winston-Salem Police and the Forsyth County Sheriff just held a joint news conference that wrapped up moments ago. They talked about the recent increase in violent crime, both in the city and the county. It comes as the city deals with a big increase in homicides. Consider this, the department has investigated 32 homicides so far this year. At this point last year, there were 21. Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough Jr. says the violence weighs on every law enforcement officer in the county.
Smell the blood. They hear the screams of the family members. Most people see a 10-second clip on the news and they go on with their day. I've seen more drama than days of our lives. I've cried enough tears to fill up a small pool. We wear this every day, the men and women.
I think that a lot of people, including myself, don't think of the impact or the toll that it takes on law enforcement. And just to hear Sheriff Kimbrough talk about how it impacts all the law enforcement officers, and the fact that he's talking about crying over this, I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these officers and deputies also do try to gain a good relationship with community members through whether that's groups, whether that's programs. So they know these people within the community. They're out here serving. And I'm glad to see that they have come together with this joint conference and trying to be able to relay this information out to the public. But to your point, it is very devastating to see. And again, it takes a toll on them as well, too.
And one thing that they have talked about recently, and I know that they talked about it in this news conference, was how it might be quick for any of us to judge law enforcement and say, why aren't you doing more to solve these crimes? But they insist that it takes the whole community. It's not just law enforcement to help solve these crimes. Where are the parents of the young kids who are involved in these crimes? Where are the people who witnessed crimes? Why aren't they calling law enforcement? And so I know that we're going to be hearing about some of those initiatives coming up. We're going to have much more on today's news conference at 5 and 6.
Well, let's flip over to weather, Tim. We talked about it in the beginning of the show. Pretty constant, 80-degree weather. Probably be throughout the same going in, to tomorrow as well, too.
Yeah, Sydney, that summer heat just kind of in a typical level right now. Nothing too much out of the ordinary. Right now, we look over Greensboro, actually. Temperature is 82, a little bit cooler there. We've had some breezes helping to keep our temperature down, and also the cloud cover a little thicker than usual, also keeping our temperature down just a little bit. Let me show you the radar, because we are still watching anyway for a couple of storms that might be able to pop up from time to time throughout the afternoon. Right now, you're getting some downpours up there north of Mount Airy. So we're looking up there toward Fancy Gap, Virginia. Nothing locally at this time, but those storms can sometimes spark a couple of others. Bottom line, I think the bulk of the action today is just going to miss our area, kind of diving to the south into South Carolina and Georgia and parts of the North Carolina mountains. There is still a severe weather risk, though. I got to let you know about that. If any storms are able to form, one or two of them could get on the strong side, maybe delivering some damaging wind gusts. But let me show you my futurecast. This is around 7 o'clock tonight. Notice there's just not much out there in this model, and I kind of agree with it that we should have a fairly quiet evening. We'll of course let you know if that changes. That's why we're here, but I wouldn't worry too badly if you're worried about storms. Temperatures are comfy for this time of year in the low to mid 80s currently. Tomorrow, we're going to crank back the heat a little bit. Take a look, 70s in the morning, 90 or so for your Friday afternoon. Lots of sunshine, and I'll tell you why the weekend could be a lot more comfortable. That's coming up in your full forecast.
Greensboro's new trolley is up and running. People can hop on and off for free as it drives along Elm Street.
Yeah, and Eric, you're down there just chilling. I see your arm up there against the seat there. What is it like? How are you feeling on it?
So what's so interesting, first of all, our disclaimer, because we're on a moving trolley, so the picture's going to be moving around a little bit. It's free, so that's probably the first thing you need to know. Hopper Trolley is ready to go, and we are so excited. We've been on it, Jay, our photographer, and I have been on this for about the last hour. riding around. It's been great. Here's Kevin Elwood with us from Guilford Transit Agency. And I mean, you told me earlier that the whole idea from this started years ago, right?
Yes, the City of Greensboro's Participatory Budgeting Program, Cycle 3. This was recommended by the community as a possible project for funding. It was approved in 2019. However, it was postponed during the pandemic. And then in 2022, it was picked up again as a project to bring to fruition. And then here we are in July 2023, finally in operation.
I mean, the idea here is that, and I can tell you firsthand, that you hop on this thing, you hop off, you can pretty much go anywhere you want to, multiple stops on Elm Street, and it doesn't take much time.
Yes, the routing is the Elm Street corridor in between Fisher Avenue and Carolyn Coleman Way. And so we have 14 stops that allow you to hop on and hop off, so you can take in nightlife, restaurants, shopping, theaters, the Tanger Center, just all sorts of things you'll be able to access using this free service. And it also connects with our overall GTA route, 18 routes that comes in from all over the city.
It's a great thing. Now, stick with us, because coming up, we're going to talk to you about, there's a website and an ad that you can go to on your mobile phone, and you can see exactly where these buses are going to be and when you pick up. We'll talk about that coming up in a minute.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. I think when I immediately heard about the trolley and why I was so excited about it, I immediately thought about nightlife. He did mention all of the different things the trolley can be used for, but how many times, I know for me, I've experienced this, that sometimes when you go out at night, you might find it difficult to park to a place that's closer to where you're trying to go to. Hop on that trolley, it takes you right there, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Satisfied.
And I mean, it goes from like it has a wide range on Elm Street. Granted, it's Elm Street focused, but like you said, I mean, you could build a parking garage a mile away, well, maybe not a mile away, but and not have to worry about parking and driving.
Right.
If it's a beautiful day downtown, sometimes I might want to walk from the Hoppers game all the way down to the south end.
Right.
If it's 95 degrees, I don't want to do that.
Or pouring rain.
So the Hopper bus, thank you.
With some good air conditioning as well too. Hey, you might meet some new friends, other folks on the trolley as well
absolutely.
I want to see that Hopper mascot.
too. Right. All right, the third largest Powerball jackpot, worth more than $1 billion. Guess what? Has a winner. The winning ticket was sold in California, and the soon-to-be billionaire was the only one to match all 5 numbers in the Powerball. No official word yet on the winner's identity, but the California Lottery reports that the ticket was purchased at the Las Palmitas mini market in Los Angeles. The store's owner, a father of 4, is expected to also get a Powerball payout of about $1 million.
But you win as well because you own the store. Do you own Las Palmitas? Yes. That means you win. We think about $1 million.
I have to make more business.
What will $1 million mean for you and your family?
I have to give you vacation, something like that.
Oh, that's great. I love that they were kind of the ones to let him know, hey, just because you didn't win the ticket doesn't mean you won't be getting money. That's so cool. I love that the places that sell the tickets also get a small I guess $1 million, a small portion of what that jackpot was.
It's also good to hear that there is a winner, because sometimes we talked about the odds yesterday as well too. Sometimes you think, oh, nobody's probably going to get called out.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, with the store owner here probably was super surprised himself that happened, but good for the winner, good for the store. And you heard him, he said vacation. So, they got a nice vacation coming.
I was really hoping that someone from our state would win, because as you know, a rule in our state, you cannot win anonymously. If you win the lottery, your name is out there. So I wonder if California's the same way, because I want to know who won. I want to see their face and just hear from them about winning such a huge jackpot.
I think I did read somewhere that they will be announcing the person publicly as well too. So stay tuned for that.
Get ready.
We'll be back.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It is a Thursday afternoon. Hopefully you're having a good one. Today, temperatures are not that tough for this time of year. In fact, some clouds rolling in recently have allowed our temperature to even decrease a couple of degrees. I'm looking at right here. You see where it's 83, 82, 84. Reidsville, you're still up there in the high 80s. But again, end of July, we kind of expect this sort of thing. I wanted to highlight the good. We talk a lot about the bad. We should also talk about the good. And this is good news. The air quality for today, it's A-OK. We're mostly all in the green category right now, and we had some nice clear sky before some of those clouds rolled in. Some of these clouds are left over from dying thunderstorms out to our west. There is a lot of action in Tennessee, North Georgia, near Chattanooga, Tennessee as well. These showers and storms, they're going to be watched. I'll keep an eye on them. I'm pretty confident they're not going to hit us, though, as they tend to kind of dive south as they move forward. So really, we're mostly going to have a dry rest of our evening. It's still possible 1 or 2 storms could pop up here or there, especially toward the late evening hours. But by and large, most of us will end up dry for the rest of today. And I can pretty much guarantee you your Friday will be a dry one. There is a weather maker on the way. This cold front not going to be a big noticeable factor tomorrow because we're still pretty hot, close to 90 degrees. But behind it, on the weekend, some lower humidity air starts to arrive. And this time of year, anything you can get like that is kind of a big deal. So tomorrow, still hot. It's not raining. We don't have storms. There's sunshine. It's around 90 degrees. But look at the weekend. That is pretty comfortable for this time of year. 80s, not that humid for both Saturday and Sunday. It's just ho-hum summer weather going into next week. Mid to upper 80s. There will be the chance of a couple late day storms, but by and large, we're still pretty dry around our area.
Well, they have got quite a mess to clean up out east after a rare EF3 tornado touched down near Rocky Mount yesterday. The National Weather Service says the tornado was on the ground for 16 miles and had winds equivalent to a Cat 4 hurricane.
Well, you know, I've grown up here all my life. That's my dad's house. Behind is my aunt's. Grew up a lot in that home area where my sister now lives, or lived. It's just material. This stuff can be replaced. It's all about family right now, just pulling together.
16 people were hurt, including 2 people who have life-threatening injuries. The Rocky Mount Senior Center is now helping house and feed people affected. Tim, I know, just reading some of the different things from some of the other weather experts out there, that it was rare to see a tornado this powerful this time of year.
Very unusual. It doesn't always click in people's brains, but usually our tornado time of year is in the spring and in the fall. Summer, usually we just have regular thunderstorms that can do their own thing, but we don't usually have the swirling winds that can make a tornado like that happen. So yesterday was kind of a rarity, and you can notice it wasn't a usual tornado for us either. This is a really strong one, and it just ripped up everything in its path.
I mean, it's just devastating to see all of the damage out there. And I mean, I've noticed too that some of these homes, a lot of folks have lived in for so many years, just like this man had said here. But I loved his perspective, how he said, yes, the home has been damaged, unfortunately, but I'm glad that my family, is safe, that cannot be replaced.
Always have those stories. So it seems like the people affected by the storms the worst usually have the best perspectives on it. It's amazing. I was struck by the stuff on I-95. I mean, imagine you're going from Florida to Maine or Jersey or wherever. You're just driving along the highway. You might not have known about this. There was a warning, but it kind of happened a couple minutes into the storm. You could have just driven right into this thing and thought it was a regular storm. But there were cars that had their windows blown out, traffic stopped in both directions. That's a scary thing. And unfortunately, some people were hurt. But as of right now, it seems like no lives lost.
Yeah, that's good news. That is definitely good news. Well, the time is 4:15. We'll be right back.
It's not doing a good flip coming right to you.
Yeah. Are you guys coming straight up to me, or are they tossing? Check 1 2 1 2. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you.
hysterical. We're ending on that. All right, so we are coming up with the tease on DBL. Daytime legend and Emmy Award-winning actress Linda Dano will be here live. Plus, there's a lot of questions about the Alabama woman who was reported missing after
All right, take two. I am talking about ways to keep calm when you're losing your patience.
There's a new way to hop around downtown Greensboro. A free trolley service kicked off this afternoon. City leaders hope this will help alleviate some of the parking issues downtown. Eric's giving it a test drive today. How's it going, Eric?
Yeah, I think I can say safely now, Chad, that me and the photographer Jay have ridden this more than anybody in the city because we've been on this thing for an hour or two. The cool thing is that you can go to Track My GTA, which I love this app, and you choose at the top, it says Hopper's Trolley, and then you say, oh, am I going to be going to South Elm or up to Lo-Fi Park, which is up on the north end near Joymongers. And when you click on that, you go to any of the stops that you want to look at, and you can tell, it tells you the exact time that it's going to be going by, and they're running about every 7 minutes. So you could literally work your way down Elm Street in one evening, right, and just use this as your way to go from one place to the other. And I envision people going from the Tanger Center to their restaurants and then to bars or nightclubs later on. It is phenomenal. So that app, that Track My GTA, is key. And by the way, that not only gives you information about the Hopper Trolley, but also all the buses across Greensboro. So we'll talk more about that app too coming up in just a minute.
Yeah, very nice tool there, Eric. Have fun. Well, endless lines, massive heat, no quick resolutions to delayed or canceled flights can really wear anyone's patience. The recent wave of flight disruptions has dialed up some passenger stress levels. This is what Blanca Cobb, who has a master's degree in psychology, and I are talking about this afternoon. Blanca, let's get right to it. So we hear about taking deep breaths to, of course, calm yourself. Is there a specific technique that folks can use?
Yeah, there is a specific technique, and actually it's called box breathing, and the U.S. Navy SEALs do this, and it's to a count of 4. So when you take a deep breath, you want to take a deep breath to the count of 4, hold it to the count of 4, then you want to exhale to the count of 4 and hold it again. The reason this helps is because it's almost an immediate effect where that cortisol level, which is your stress hormone, decreases, as well as your blood pressure. And then when you're focusing on the counting, it helps put you in the present. You're focusing on your breathing and not any type of distraction.
Talk to us about pep talks when you feel like your patience is wearing thin.
Now, here's the thing about pep talks. You can pep talk your way into more aggravation. So that's why it's really important to pay attention to what you're saying to yourself. So if you're complaining to yourself underneath your breath going, who do they think they are? They're cutting in front of me, or why do they think they're going to get helped and I'm not? Whatever it is that you're saying that's negative is just going to ramp you up. Instead, you have to have alternate ways to calm yourself down. And that's where you're looking for options or alternative explanations, or just telling yourself that you can get through this. It's just a little while longer, and the rep is going to help you. The rep is trying to help some other people first, and then you'll get your turn. So again, it just depends on what you're saying, whether you're going to exacerbate or you're going to calm down the situation.
Got it. Good advice there. What else can you do to effectively deal with losing your patience?
Distract yourself. Distract yourself from the negativity that's happening in the moment, whether it's an interaction with someone or whether it's negative thoughts. This means take a quick walk, even if you're at the airport waiting to see the rep. Maybe you just pace still in line, or read something on your phone, read an article, a book, listen to some music. Hey, you can call a friend, but you want to call to chat, not to complain. And if there's any way that you can help somebody briefly, quickly, as you're waiting, do that too. Again, it just distracts your mind from the negativity that's happening in the moment that's driving you nuts.
I got it. I'm putting all of this advice in my own back pocket. You can continue the conversation with Blanca on her Facebook page, Blanca Cobb, body language expert. We'll be right back.
I love this music. Can I let this be my theme music every time I come on now? I will gladly take it. Yes, thank you.
Well, it is a movie getting a lot of attention right now. Oppenheimer hits theaters tonight.
Yeah, the movie is based on the father of the atomic bomb. But before you go check it out on the big screen, WFMY News 2's Manning Franks has a review.
I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. Those are the words quoted from Hindu scripture by the Manhattan Project director Robert J. Oppenheimer immediately following the very first successful nuclear bomb test. Oppenheimer was enigmatic and a multifaceted figure who changed the course of history forever. Now, with as prolific a director as Christopher Nolan at the helm, we are promised a biopic that is both complex, dark, and thought-provoking trip to the cinema. It's also 3 hours, so remember to pace yourself.
We're in a race against the Nazis. And I know what it means if the Nazis have a bomb.
Based on the 2005 biography American Prometheus, Christopher Nolan adapts the story of renowned physicist Robert J. Oppenheimer, played by Cillian Murphy, onto the big screen. Amid World War II, the American government enlists the mind of Oppenheimer to lead the development of the atomic bomb in hopes to beat Nazi Germany to the punch. Yet as Oppenheimer and his team get closer to detonation, will this invention bring about humanity's destruction? Oppenheimer, at its core, is a horror movie, but not in the traditional sense. Instead, Nolan uses his skills behind the camera to lay bare the evils of humanity's lust for power. Nolan paints Oppenheimer with morally gray brushstrokes as the film unravels this man's complicated life. In what might be his best performance to date, Cillian Murphy imbues Oppenheimer with a tragic melancholy that you can't look away from. In addition, he's flanked by an all-star cast ensemble of Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, Matt Damon, and more. From a visual perspective, Nolan does everything in his power to ensure that the viewer is thrusted inside the radioactive mind of Oppenheimer throughout the film. Nolan achieves this through claustrophobic close-ups, frantic editing, overwhelming sound, and a sensory-overloaded score from Ludwig Göransson that is in contention for Best Score of the Year. The downside, though, is that we are rarely granted a reprieve as the film powers through a 3-hour runtime, thus, at times, resulting in the audience unable to take a breath with its far too expository-heavy dialogue. When it comes to Christopher Nolan films, I'm a little more tepid in my praise, as some of his films come across as cold and poorly paced to me. But Oppenheimer is one of those films you see on the big screen that sticks with you. It's Nolan's most ambitious film to date, and for lack of a better term, it blew me away. I'm giving Oppenheimer a 2 approved. You can watch it only in theaters.
Wow.
2 approved.
2 approved.
It is 2 approved, 100%.
And would you say, you'd mentioned it in there, would you say that you were kind of mentally exhausted after watching it, since it's 3 hours of just constant?
It is 3 hours of constant talking and building up of pressure and tension. It is a roller coaster ride of emotion.
A lot of interesting graphics and animations and different things. I may be using the wrong words, but you get what I'm saying.
I get 100%.
Thank you. Help me out.
No worry. I get 100% what you're
You're the
saying.
expert.
But it's not about the bomb. It's about the man and what he went through personally, and the people around him went through in the creation of this destructive force, really.
Were you expecting it to be as good as you thought it was?
Yes and no, because I like Christopher Nolan. I don't love Christopher Nolan. He did The Dark Knight, Inception, Tenet, if you saw that last year, 2 years ago. So he is a really good director, but he's also a little cold, as I said. But this one is such a cerebral film to where you have to put on your thinking cap while you're watching this, but it is such a delight to be able to witness. So, in my opinion, really good movie, and as long as you're ready for the 3 hours, you will enjoy it.
So you're encouraging folks to go and see it.
It's approved.
It's wild to me that you would hear this movie in the same sentence as Barbie, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
As the internet has said, Barbenheimer. If you guys have heard that, if y'all have heard it, look it up. It is basically Barbie and Oppenheimer, 2 very different movies premiering on the same weekend, and I'm excited to see them both.
Okay.
Barbie's next week. Barbie's next
I'm
week, y'all.
excited about that.
I'm excited for that one too.
Thanks, Manny. We'll be right back.
Hey, Michaela, mic check. It's Jalen. We mic checking. It's time for the 4:30.
Check, check, 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3.
Happy Thursday and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Sydney Moore here with Mr. Tim Buckley and Chad Silber himself.
Hi there. How you doing, everybody? Nice to see you. We're going to be checking in with Jalen Gilkey coming up here in just a bit and checking in with the forecast. And so far, so good.
So far, so good. Yeah, I'm hoping we could see a hippo out here as well. That is our hippo camera, but not raining is what I'll say.
Right, yeah.
It's cloudy outside. We're still watching for maybe a couple of storms, but as of right now, still waiting.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Tim. Well, Greensboro's new trolley is up and running. The Hopper, as you know it's called, made its debut today all along Elm Street, downtown.
Yeah, and Eric, you are out there. You've been riding around. I mean, seem to be enjoying it.
Hey, look, I've seen everything on Elm Street you can see, right? We've been up and down this thing all over. The cool thing about this, and I'm with Kevin Elwood here with Greensboro Transit Agency, is I noticed the map, and you said this is the map that's on the ceiling. That's an actual map?
Yes, this is a transit map from 1943, downtown Greensboro, that showed the different transit systems that operated in the city, the largest of which was Duke Transit Company. And so the map is centered so that Elm Street is running down the middle of the trolley, and of course that mirrors the route that we're on right now.
And then they've got all these pictures over, and Jay, I know he's struggling here with a moving trolley, but maybe we can show one of them, maybe this one. But you told me that's an actual trolley that was here in Greensboro in about what time, do you think?
Yes, this is an electric trolley. I think that was around the 1940s, 50s, and it was operated by Southern Public Utilities, which was part of Duke Power. Duke Power at one time, again, operated public transit in the southeast, including Greensboro, for a number of years until 1990, when the city of Greensboro took over and formed Greensboro Transit Authority.
It's crazy. I mean, you think that's a long time contract. So you've got some history here. And also, coming up, we're going to talk a little bit more about, speaking of history, they've got some things coming to these trolleys that have not happened yet. And once they get these implemented, you might get a history lesson while you ride. We'll talk about that coming up.
A history lesson while you ride. I really love the map at the top of it. What a nice view to look at while you're riding.
Yeah, especially the outsides look really cool too. I mean, it's just, I love that it's a nod to the old trolley system that used to run in downtown Greensboro. But I really just think it's a good idea. So many people complain about parking in downtown Greensboro. You don't really have a lot to complain about anymore, knowing that you could park far away and take the trolley, considering it comes every 7 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a great tool. I'm glad that they added it to downtown, and it just enhances it even more.
And if it's too hot or if it's raining, Tim Buckley, I would say the trolley is a good idea.
You don't want to show up at dinner, the bar, the whatever, with a big old sweaty shirt. You want to be fresh. It's air conditioned. Good stuff. I wish it was air conditioned out here sometimes. A little hot at the moment. We're doing okay though. It's in the 80s outside in Greensboro. We have some cloud cover. That's kind of the surprise of the day. These clouds have kept our temperatures down by a couple of degrees. At one point it was in the upper 80s. Now we've cooled into the low 80s across much of the Triad. Hardly anything for me to show you on radar locally though. There are only a couple of showers just to the north here of Surry County up into southern Virginia. We have to really widen out the view to show you where the storms are so far today. And there are plenty of them in Tennessee, northern Georgia. That's where the action is. And they could spark some additional showers and storms as they move off to the east. So we do still have that chance going into this evening of a couple storms popping up. But I'll be honest with you, I think this severe weather outlook is pretty much overdone for our area. We'll keep an eye on it. It is certainly worth watching, but I just don't see too many showers and storms forming. If there are some, they're most likely in our southern counties. You see right there that storm on Futurecast near Montgomery County around 8 o'clock. We'll keep an eye on it for you. Otherwise, most of us are on the dry side. There are those temperatures, like I said, a little warmer earlier. Now we've cooled off a couple of degrees. It'll be a hot day on Friday, though. I have us right around 90 degrees for Friday afternoon. Lots of sun, kind of typical for July. We'll talk about your weekend in a couple minutes.
Tim, thank you. Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Happening right now is the Davidson County Social Services Job Fair. They're hiring for positions like social workers, income maintenance workers, and more. Recruiters are at the Davidson County Government Building in Lexington right now, but hurry, it closes at 6:30.
The union representing UPS workers is going back to the negotiating table. Leaders are set to meet with the company next week as the deadline to prevent a possible strike gets closer. Thousands of workers have already been practicing picket lines. UPS says it'll increase pay and benefits and wants to finalize a deal. The impacts of a strike would be major. Consider this, UPS handles about 20 million packages a day.
And this year's Comic-Con convention in San Diego is moving ahead without fewer Hollywood stars amid the SAG strike. The annual convention typically unites thousands of fans of cosplay, comic books, and their screen adaptations, that is, each July. Strikes by members of the Writers Guild of America and the Actors Union SAG-AFTRA are preventing both writers and A-list celebrities from participating this year. But organizers still say fans have a lot to look forward to. San Diego Comic-Con runs from today through Sunday.
You have likely heard about this strange kidnapping story in Alabama. At first, a woman called 911 to report a child walking alone on a highway. Video shows the woman stopping. After that, the story is a mystery. The woman, named Carly Russell, says a trucker kidnapped her and she managed to escape the next day. But investigators now say Russell made strange internet searches in the days prior, like, do you have to pay for an Amber Alert? And searches about the kidnapping movie Taken.
You may have noticed a decent-sized crowd near Truist Stadium on the campus of North Carolina A&T. Parking lots are filled with cars, and the stadium is packed with competitors from all over the country. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey has more on the national championships happening right here in Greensboro.
Truist Stadium is no stranger to big-time events, whether that be CAA football games or youth track national championships. But this week, over on Sullivan and East Lindsay, for the first time ever, the participants are a bit older than usual.
This is the largest turnout in the more than 40-year history. More than 50-year history of Masters Track and Field.
Usually, Truist Stadium is filled with young athletes looking to begin their athletic careers.
It's a great event. I do the track meets. I also do the long distance series where there's 9 races throughout the country, ranging from mile to half marathon. It just brings everybody together.
However, this week, the competitors on the track are a bit more seasoned than we normally see.
It motivates me. It motivates me a lot to see, people out here in all age groups, not just my age groups, but past 70, past 80. Even I think a 100-year-old just broke a record, so I love it.
I like giving it my best. That's it. If I work as hard as I can and I finish second today or I finished 8th, that's okay. I worked as hard as I could. That's all I'm here for, is to stay out of the wheelchair when I get old.
Feels good. It's a constantly working at it. Trying to get your nutrition and workouts and strength and sleep, because when you're running, you got to carry everything. So you got to be fit all around.
Athletes from the age of 25 to over the century mark are here in Greensboro to challenge themselves mentally and physically in this year's USA Track and Field Masters Outdoor National Championships.
We have many more 80-plus athletes than we've had before, and I think that's because the sport has been growing and they're getting older and they're living longer, because this is a good way to do that.
It's hard not to think about the story you did a few days ago about the adult soccer league.
I thought about it too.
The tournament that was here. Greensboro is turning into a place for adult sports.
Yeah, and so, we know Greensboro has the moniker Tournament Town, whether that be ACC, whether that be swimming, diving, our local high school sports and whatnot. But now we've added adult sports as well, adult amateur sports as well. So I just think it's a cool, unique, refreshing take on sports, and there's never a time that you have to put the ball down or stop running or stop chasing your dream or doing anything you love to do.
I love the energy out there as well, too.
Yeah.
People supporting each other. I wish I was out there to be supporting them myself, but definitely seems like a really great atmosphere. What, Jalen?
It's hot out there, Cindy. You don't want to go out there right now? It is hot.
So, umbrella,
there you go.
water.
And what a broad range of age. From 25 to over 100 years old.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so they just added the 25 to 29 age group this year because they wanted to bridge the gap between the collegiate athletes and the younger athletes that were still at a highly competitive level, and bridge them in so they can understand that you could take this from once you put down the college spikes, if you aren't blessed enough to make it to the Olympics or the Worlds or anything like that, you can keep those spikes on, keep doing what you love to do, and take it from 25 all the way to 105 if you want to.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, you know about therapy dogs, but what about therapy cats?
Yeah, Dallas Pediatric Hospital is raising spirits using their therapy feline.
It just gives me a really big sense of fulfillment that I'm doing something more.
Every couple of weeks, secured over her shoulders and carried carefully on her back.
I tell him he's going to work and he gets super excited.
Sarah Dutton delivers a dose of highly effective medicine.
I'm gonna put this on your lap because Harry likes to lay on the...
Hi, Harry.
Cuddly medicine.
I love his little nose.
Harry,
He's so cute.
is a therapy cat.
The friendliest cat I have met.
He works his magic.
There you go.
At Scottish Rite for Children in Dallas.
Bet you weren't expecting to see a cat here, huh?
Yeah.
This hospital is world renowned for pediatric orthopedic care.
It's like just calming to have a cat on you always.
Parker had reconstructive leg surgery.
You want to sit down?
Kyla, 12-hour spine surgery.
Very so sweet.
Like a lot of Scottish Rite patients, Kyla has limb differences.
Can you sit?
And so does Harry.
Good boy, Harry.
Sarah's husband found him curled up in a ball in the middle of a road.
What the heck's happening?
He'd been run over.
What's happening?
A leg and shoulder had to be amputated.
You want to pet him? Yeah, go for it.
He's very comfortable.
He is.
But once Harry healed,
Wait, you've been some places.
Sarah recognized a potential to heal others.
I felt like he could probably touch some people, show people that you can get hurt and be disabled.
What's up, Harry?
And just be totally fine, live a normal life. Harry's a working man. He's earning that paycheck, right, Harry?
I love that. And you know what's great about this is I think that having a therapy cat will help break some of the negative image that some people have of cats, in that they run around, they jump on everything, they scratch and bite. This is a good example that not all cats are like that.
Yeah, I am a little scared of cats, just a little bit. So this was very refreshing to see, them in this type of nature as well too. Yeah, you always hear about therapy dogs, therapy cats is definitely something new. So
it's cool. All right, we'll be right back.
Hey there, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. Christmas in July. It should kind of look like, you know, little gingerbread people, like maybe on a beach or something like that. But what I want to show you is something that the Omni Grove Park Inn does. They say it is time for sure for gingerbread. The registration for the 31st National Gingerbread House Competition is open, and anyone can enter, from 5-year-olds to adults of any age. So the National Gingerbread Competition is a tradition, 31 years now. My first question to the lead judge was, how do you get all those people and get their gingerbread houses to Asheville to be judged?
The houses are brought individually, manually, by the people who created them. So let's say, for example, I've made a giant house and I live across the country. So I'm going to fly there and I might buy a seat on the airplane for my house. So it can sit right next to me and I can, you know, babysit it. I might take it apart and put it in suitcases and check it as luggage. I might drive it with me and just hope for the best. And so they get there many different ways, but the mailman does not touch them.
That was a wild soundbite.
I know. Well, because, and I didn't expect for him to say that. I expected for him to say that maybe they came and then they had to assemble them, and he's like, oh no, they buy airplane tickets for these things.
It's serious.
Yes.
That's amazing. I have a lot of respect for folks who can create and design nice gingerbreads, because if you ever want to see a gingerbread house made wrong, come spend an hour or two with me.
Oh no, hang on there, because I did ask him about this, because I was like, these things are amazing. Now we're talking hundreds of entries every single year.
Wow.
And I go see the houses every single year, because you can go to the Grove Park Inn for free and walk in and see all these houses.
Nice.
I've never been to the Grove Park Inn.
Oh my gosh.
I've been to Asheville several times, but it's just, it's never made it on the list.
It is historic. You need to go sit by that fireplace. You need to go see that view.
And the gingerbread houses.
And the gingerbread houses.
Don't want to miss it.
Right, so the registration is open if you do want to take part. And really, kids as young as 5, all the way up adults. Maybe, you know, you're thinking to yourself, you know, well, I just wish I could make the gingerbread houses be okay. I asked him about that.
I can't peer into everybody's kitchen to know exactly what's happening, but I think it could come down to patience. You know, even when I'm looking at the kids' entries at Omni Grove Park Inn, is maybe they were a little impatient. You know, they got their walls up, they put their little icing on there, and then bam, I'm ready to go decorate. And I start putting things on, and then, oh my God, the whole thing collapsed.
So he says patience. All right, you know, the Omni even has these piping directions so you can up your frosting game. And they have a house template as well. So I'm going to link you to all of these resources and the sign up for this year's competition.
One of the guys is in the homeless area all the time.
Okay, check. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. How much time for this one? $1:15. Okay. Thank you.
A new trolley system is hitting downtown Greensboro. A lot of excitement surrounding it. The rides are free and they run Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to get more out of our downtown area by using the hopper for access to shopping, dining, entertainment, sports, and much, much more. Eric, right?
It's so much fun. We've had a blast doing this. We're going to be talking to you too at 5 and 6, so don't leave us just yet. All right, Kevin Elwood with us from GTA, and you were telling me, at first I was thinking, okay, we've seen pretty much everything, but you say, no, there are some more additions that these trolleys will get. So let's talk about that and maybe start with the app.
Well, yes, actually we have a website called trackmygta.com, and that is where our riders already track their GTA buses. The hopper will be a part of that system as well, so you'll be able to see the trolleys in real time as they're traveling along their route. You can even click on the hopper stop and it will tell you how long until the hopper will arrive.
Okay, and then you said also there's an audio system that's coming in?
Yes, actually we have programmed our audio system on the bus to provide history facts about different aspects of the downtown area, and it's activated by GPS. So when you pass by a certain point, it may talk about Bluebell manufacturing, the maker of the denim overalls, or it may talk about the original location for the O. Henry Hotel along Elm Street. So there's a lot of different facts that you will learn as you're riding on the trolley.
I love that, and that's all automatic and triggered. By the way, can I get a round of applause for our photographer, Jay Capers, who is standing up in a moving trolley and trying to do a best job?
That doesn't sound too easy. And hey, if y'all ever want to meet Eric Chilton, he's going to be on that bus like the whole weekend. We're not letting him leave just yet. Scattered showers and storms, that's a possibility for the next couple of hours, but so far we've been very quiet. I think we'll only have one or two that pop up for the rest of this evening. And then tomorrow we're back to dry weather. Right around 90, it'll be a hot Friday for you, but lower humidity, hard to come by in July. I'm expecting it though by Saturday. It's all relative. It's not going to feel like fall, but it'll feel a little better than it does right now. There's your forecast. We're looking at dry weather. You can get outside this weekend without worrying. Stick around. The 5 is right after this. Oh, brother. I'm yawning on a mic check. How rude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Hi there. Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana.
Hi there, Brad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie.
That nose smoking because he's got like an old pipe, like they did like an old school throwback. Hey, check 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We need somebody to hold you and support you so we can move.
Absolutely furious that 3 people were shot and killed in his city so far. He said the shot looks bad. It needs to be fixed.
Oh, because I'm still just get the mic check. I'm still trying to get lit.
Get the mic check. He's good. He's just moving the cameras.
how's your summer going? Have you enjoyed a day at the beach or the pool? Or maybe you're loving the kids being out of school. Or maybe you're wondering when they'll go back. It's crazy to think we are already halfway through July. Growing up in Wisconsin, that was a scary thought because it meant summer was halfway over and it would soon start to fade into fall. Fortunately, we are luckier down here that warm weather typically extends well past August. My problem is that I'm always counting down to the end of summer, and not in a good way. Don't get me wrong, I love fall, but I also dread getting closer to winter. This is the time of year I love the most, but it's hard for me to enjoy it because I know it's quickly going away. Could you imagine if the cold winter months flew by as fast as the summer months did? Then I have to remind myself that I shouldn't be wishing any time away. Life is too short as it is. It's a good reminder to live in the moment and not worry about what's coming next. That's just my 2 cents. And your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now. New video tonight of an EF3 tornado ripping through part of our state. The powerful storm producing winds up to 150 miles per hour. The tornado ripped trees from their roots, tossing them into houses. More than a dozen people were hurt.
The damage could cause long-term medical shortages. A damaged Pfizer plant normally makes huge amounts of medicine for hospitals all across the country. But first at 5 o'clock, we're on top.